Did I mention the number of TSA officers who have been arrested for stealing from the people they've been paid to protect? This is an editorial. This is just my opinion, and it doesn't reflect that of any other individual or company. So take it for what it's worth. This is just what I think. There's a bill taking shape in the United States Congress that I think we should all be paying attention to. The bill is called the Safer Skies Act, but make no mistake, it's not actually about making the skies, or you or me, any safer. It's a bit more insidious than that. Representative Nick Langworthy of New York, who chairs the House Aviation Safety Caucus, describes the bill this way. The Safer Skies Act will close a loophole that has allowed certain operators, like ticketed charter flights, to bypass the rigorous screening requirements that ensure the safety of all passengers. It is vital for protecting our skies and the lives of passengers and crew alike. Admittedly, that sounds awesome, but who does this actually pertain to, and what does it really do for us? Those are good questions. The Safer Skies Act intends to extend the TSA's search, delay, and annoy policy to charter flights beyond the commercial air carriers they currently serve or don't. If you've flown commercially over the last 20 years, you've experienced firsthand what passes for security at the airport. And the odds are good you didn't care for it. Why not spread that inconvenience and annoyance to all aspects of aviation? Well, let's look at this from a slightly different perspective, one that doesn't originate from the echo chamber offices on Capitol Hill. What the TSA has been doing for the past couple decades has been euphemistically referred to as security theater. That's not my term, that's a term brought up by security experts to describe what we're doing at the airports. Basically, that means the long lines you experience before you get to your gate, the pat-downs, the x-raying of your luggage, the removal of your shoes and belts, and maybe even the handing over of your phone for additional screening. All that is designed to make you feel like you're going through a security process, something absolutely necessary to keep you safe. But is that what's really happening? In reality, this is about feelings. It's not actually about security. It's not about safety. It's just about making you feel like if I've gone through all this, there must be a good reason for it, and that good reason must be enhanced safety. Of course, that could be described as an opinion, rightfully so. What does the data say when we get right down to it? How effective is the TSA in these security checks? In 2015, after 14 years in process, security experts did some screening processes and found that the TSA screenings were, now brace yourself for this, 5% effective. 5%. They found at multiple airports that 95% of the time, TSA officers didn't find mock explosives or weapons tucked away in luggage coming through their screening process. 95%. That is a failure rate worth paying attention to. Of course, they did do much better than that, confiscating your bottle of water and your shampoo and your toothpaste, because you know, of course, how dangerous toiletries can be. Now, this is a serious question. Can you imagine any other industry where a 95% failure rate would be considered acceptable? Where the CEO of that company could stand up and proudly say, we're doing a great job because 5% of the time we're actually successful in providing the product or service we told you we would provide. No, they would make sweeping changes to their processes. Absolutely, there's no doubt about that. In the private sector, no company could put up with a 95% failure rate and survive. The public just isn't going to buy products and services when they know they're not going to work 95% of the time. But that's people. Government is different. Unlike the private side, when the government establishes a program that's ineffective, inefficient, and incredibly expensive, they don't kill it, they expand it. Hey, that didn't work. Let's increase the budget, spread out to other areas of the industry, and bring our inefficiency everywhere. Let's do that. Doesn't that sound like a great idea? Seriously, does that even begin to make sense? I don't think so. In response to this bill being drafted, Ed Bolin, the CEO of the National Business Aircraft Association, had this to say. Business aviation has an exceptional record of safety and security, so we are concerned about the introduction of this legislation, which does not appear to have a clear data-driven basis in safety or security. I couldn't agree more. It's a reasonable question. Why are members of our government pushing to expand a program that's proven to be ineffective, inefficient, and grossly expensive to solve a problem that doesn't exist? That seems a little curious. You know, I can remember a time when you could enter the airport, walk to your gate, get on an aircraft. There were no incremental stops along the way. It was a much more enjoyable system and much more efficient. Admittedly, security is very important to the flight crews, to the passengers, and to the families of all concerned who are still back home. But does it have to be this invasive and this expensive when the system we're talking about has been proven not to work? All of which leads us to an obvious question. Why is the Safer Skies Act being proposed at all? Why is Congress trying to fix a non-existent problem? The answer is a little disturbing. It's because we let them. There are roughly 600,000 pilots in the United States, a little north of that. If even half of them contacted their congressional representatives and said, cut it out, we don't need this, they probably would. Expand that number to include spouses, adult children, friends, aviation enthusiasts. All of a sudden you're dealing with a really large number of citizens who could reach out and tell Congress, we're not that happy with the intrusions we experienced from TSA, especially considering there's no known benefit to it. But of course, that would require you to send an email to your congressman, maybe even to your senators. We each have one congressman, two senators. That's 3 emails apiece, and I don't know, that sounds like a lot of work, doesn't it? Maybe it would be easier to just continue to acquiesce and let total strangers pat us down and fill up our junk and rummage through our luggage every time we go see grandma for the holidays. Me? I don't think so. I'll send the emails. I'll make a phone call because I'm a troublemaker. I believe in us. I think we have the ability to plot our own future, to take care of our own safety, and to trust in the companies that are operating these aircraft that they don't want to lose the aircraft or the crews either. And may I remind you, there is no problem. And TSA has been proven to be 95% ineffective. So what do you think? Oh, and did I mention the number of TSA officers who have been arrested for stealing from the people they've been paid to protect? No, I didn't mention that. Maybe we'll get into that another time. Until then, thanks so much for watching. Click the like button. Share this on social media if you think it has value. Subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you right back here next time. Thanks so much.